Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 6 Episode 9 Recap: The Flight from Hades. Welcome to the recap for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 6, Episode 9. Last week, the Below Deck Down Under crossover continued with Lisa in the hot seat yet again. Angie had told Bronwyn that Lisa alleged Todd made out with her friend, while farting the entire time. However, one bombshell wasn't enough. Brittany then dropped the news to Meredith that Seth was allegedly spotted with a mistress. And Meredith did not disengage in her response. Here's exactly what went down in Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 6, Episode 9, Unicorn Overboard. What happened in Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 6, Episode 9? The trip to Canoein came to a close with Brittany's unicorn being tossed overboard. However, the drama for Brittany didn't end there. During the flight back home, Meredith allegedly went berserk on her. Yet somehow the group slept through most of the ordeal. Meanwhile, more rumors of Todd potentially cheating on Bronwyn came to light. And Bronwyn dished to Whitney that she believed they could be true. Bronwyn and Meredith threw Uni overboard. It was the last day of the group's charter on Captain Jason Chambers' superyacht. Angie, Whitney, Heather, and Brittany met up for a private yoga lesson with Jason himself. But while the group struggled to stretch from being hungover, Brittany struggled from being piled on for talking about Seth the previous night. But if Brittany was expecting sympathy from Meredith, she was not going to get it. Meredith told Lisa, "I think she's disgusting, and she thinks she's a Disney princess. And you know what? She has the brain aptitude of one." Bronwyn was no fan of Brittany's either. So, she showed up at Meredith's room with a sacrifice, and that was Brittany's stuffed unicorn. In her confessional, Meredith said, "I guess I can't throw Brittany overboard, so Uni will have to do." Everyone sat down for breakfast, none the wiser of Uni's demise. And even though Meredith tossed Uni overboard, that did not release any of the anger she felt towards Brittany. Meredith quipped, "I'm a survivor. I'm strong. I can deal with a lot of hatred thrown at me without a problem." Brittany tried to speak her piece, but Meredith shooed her away. She had bigger fish to fry, and that was Whitney. Meredith was not happy that Whitney was a part of the gossip about her husband. She said, "You co-signed it and you didn't tell me. And that's not what a friend does." Whitney reasoned she wanted to give Brittany the opportunity to talk to her first. Meredith accepted that, but then Brittany butted back in. She felt there was a double standard that everyone else can talk about the husbands, but she said one thing that's meant to be in kindness and was piled on. And that set Meredith off again. Get ready for some turbulence. The breakfast brawl continued as the boat docked. Meredith said, "I'm done with her. You guys want to support her, I'll be done with you too." Heather was shook. She said, "So, we're just throwing Brittany overboard?" "Well, they already threw Uni." The fighting would have to be put on pause as it was time to go. As the ladies disembarked, they got one of the least enthusiastic claps from a below-deck crew ever. Heather thanked them for putting up with the group and hopefully handed over a big fat tip. We'll have to wait for the BDDU episode to find out. Before they got too far, a frantic Daisy Kelleher scurried after them with none other than Uni. Brittany was thrilled until she got suspicious because Uni was all wet. Bronwyn admitted it was a joke tossing Uni overboard, while Meredith added that Uni needed a dip to clean off all the tanner. But Brittany didn't find it funny in the least. The drama on the trip wasn't quite over though. Apparently on the flight home, Meredith continued her crusade against Brittany. There was no footage, cell phone or otherwise, that showed any of this going down. Angie and Heather said it started at the airport, with Meredith making a scene about Brittany's comments regarding Seth. Mary shared that it spiraled for hours while they were on the plane. Meredith set the record straight. She explained, "What happened is very simple. I vented to Lisa about Brittany. I never engaged with Brittany. Let me be very clear." She added she never spoke to her nor touched her. And while Meredith was not arrested by an air marshal, the group still claimed that she lost her SH*T. The math wasn't matching for Bronwyn. Back in SLC, Heather met Brittany for lunch. And she hugged her like she had just come back from war. Heather apologized and said that no trip should end that way. They should only start that way instead. Brittany then shared some crazy details about the flight. She claimed there was hair pulling and that Meredith had shaken her seat when she got up to use the bathroom. Heather said she slept through most of it, but did hear Lisa yelling at her to share the TikTok video that talked about Seth's alleged mistress. In her confessional, Brittany said about Lisa and Meredith, "I think they were just trying to make me feel really small. And I'm really disappointed in myself that eventually I started crying, and I just didn't want them to know they broke me." Meanwhile, Bronwyn met up with Whitney to get the tea on the flight fiasco. Whitney joked, "You missed the flight from Hades." She went on to say that Meredith was in a pure rage and taunted Brittany the whole time. Bronwyn said in her confessional, "I don't know if it's being exaggerated. There's just no way this could have happened the way that Whitney's telling me it did on a commercial flight. And there's no cell phone footage. There's no Meredith got zip-tied to her chair. She got arrested by TSA when they landed. She's now on a permanent no-fly list." Bronwyn told Whitney that both Todd and Meredith needed a reminder of flight etiquette. And then she dropped a shocking story of her own. Bronwyn confronted Todd about the cheating allegations. Whitney let out a big gulp when Bronwyn dropped the news. Bronwyn dished, "I don't know if you've seen on Twitter or not that people are accusing Todd of getting caught on a plane cheating on me. While Todd was on his flight to New York, someone caught him looking at photos of women on his phone." She added that she believed this to be true because the source knew where Todd was sitting and everything else about the flight. When she confronted Todd, he tried to blame it on the group. But Bronwyn called bullsh*t. Bronwyn said, "If it was someone sending him photos and we talked about it ahead of time, it wouldn't bother me. If Todd said to me, 'I'd like to sleep with other people,' or 'I'd like us to do it together,' I would at least try it." At this point, Whitney replaced her salad with a bucket of popcorn. Whitney wondered what their agreement was. Bronwyn noted that was the problem. There wasn't one. Whitney then spilled some tea of her own that she and Justin are in a similar situation. She said, "If there is something that I want to do, then I would bring it to Justin and we would talk about it." Whitney joked, "When my kids are out of the house, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'll invite you to my parties." Then we cut to a more wholesome conversation between Angie and Electra. Electra is teenagering hard and wanted nothing to do with her mom's passion for being Greek. Angie did her best to explain why it means so much to her, but it fell on deaf ears. Angie said, "The fact is, you are Greek." Electra scoffed, "I'm aware." Bless. It's Lisa and Meredith versus everyone else. Lisa sent a message to Heather on how their lunch was going to go when she arrived over an hour late. So, when Lisa did arrive, Heather jumped right in. She shocked Lisa when she said that Brittany was mad at her for her behavior on the flight. Lisa said, "I didn't do anything to her. I just kept saying, 'Send her the F***King TikTok.' And that was to calm Meredith down because she kept complaining about it." Heather said they were relentless against Brittany, to which Lisa countered how would she know, as Heather was asleep the whole time. Lisa added that Meredith just vented to her and didn't even talk to Brittany. And if it was so bad, why did no one step up to defend Brittany? Heather admitted she did, but Lisa said that happened at the very end of the flight. Lisa said, "I was helping defuse her. I was keeping her away from Brittany. I don't agree with what she said, and I'm not going to be held responsible for what she said." Later on, Meredith met up with Mary, and they were not on the same page as to what happened on the plane. Meredith thought it was a 15-minute kerfuffle, while Mary said the yelling happened the entire flight. To which Meredith wondered how she knew because Mary was asleep the whole time too. Meredith insisted, "It's a big nothing sandwich. There's nothing else to it." Still, Mary hoped Meredith would apologize. But that seemed quite unlikely. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City airs Tuesdays at August 7th. See on Bravo. The show streams on Hulu in Canada, the UK, and Ireland. Tell us, what did you think of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 6, Episode 9? Do you think Meredith went off on Brittany the entire flight back?